All right, man, we're good. Jonathan Parouty, how you doing?
Hey Brett, how are you doing? I'm good.
Good, good. Listen, this is a cool one. So I get a message the other day from Ben Titley. He sends me a video message, and he's like, "Hey, Brett, I got this guy, Jonathan Parouty. Think you'd be really interested in talking to him. He's got a great story. He's a young coach, but he's been traveling the world. He's been going to all these top programs." And I was listening. I'm like, "Listen, if it's coming from Ben Titley, I'm into it." So we reached out, and so thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure to exchange with you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Where are you right now?
I'm in Barcelona.
Barcelona. You're still with
We,
Ben?
yes, I'm still with Ben.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some background for the people that don't know you.
Okay, so I'm a French coach. I was a coach in a kind of regional center in Brest. It's a city in the west of France.
Were
I
you a
left my
swimmer?
yes when I was young.
Okay.
So I left my position in last July 2023. No, 2022, sorry.
22. How old are you now?
I'm, what do you think? What's my age?
I think you're like 29.
Yes, 37.
37?
37.
Wow, okay. All right. You look a lot younger, my friend. There you go.
Thank you. So, yes, I left my position in last July. Then starting to visiting the world, different program. So,
Okay, hang on, back up. Just wait right there. Why would you decide to leave your program and all of a sudden say, I'm going to travel the world and travel around to all these different programs? Why would you say that?
okay, so I was a coach in a kind of regional center. It's not national center, but just before. Then my leaders decide to change politics, and I was not agree with that politics, so I decided to leave the program. And it was in the July, middle of end of July, and it was really difficult after that for me to find a new club on only 1 month because I have to be ready in September. So because I didn't find any club, I chose to visit different program to learn because I didn't want to lose one year.
Okay. So at this stage in your coaching, what are the types of kids that you're coaching?
Last year I coached a final or podium in the national French competition, national French
Okay.
championship.
Most of these kids are around, so the ones you're coaching, how old
16
are they?
to 16 to 20, the older 22 maybe.
Okay. And how many kids are in your group? Were in your group?
Last year's 10.
10. Okay. All right. So it's basically a club team. They come, and are these kids studying as well at the same time?
Yes, of course. Yeah, they were in what we call in France Pôle Espoir. It's kind of structure when you can studying and swimming. So you wake up early, like in the US with the university, but it's also for high school.
Right. Now, at this stage, had you had some money saved up, or what was the idea behind planning this trip? Had you planned the trip to say, okay, I'm going to be gone a year, or is this just something that has extended over time?
Extended over the time. I put some money in the bank last 5 years. Then I started to travel in Finland first, and I would like to visit USA for 3 months because of the visa. But I didn't know what to do after. I didn't know if I will have enough money, etc. So I started by Finland. Then after that, I went to USA for 3 months. Then I went to Australia for 2 months.
Wow.
Then 1 month in Canada, and now I'm back in Europe.
Listen, you know that Canada's right above America. You didn't have to fly all the way to Australia and then back to Canada. You could have saved some money.
There is a story inside this choice.
Okay, good. We're gonna get to the story then. Okay, so the first thing you decide to do is travel and see some programs. Why did you decide Finland was the first place you wanted to go?
Okay, because last year's during one training camp in Las Palmas, in the Canary Island, I met one guy who interviewed in your podcast. Is Marco.
Marco. Mm-hmm.
Then I met him during my training camp, and we exchanged maybe only 30 minutes, or 1 hour, about pedagogy and how help swimmer to have the smile during training, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy looks so strange. He don't take any stopwatch. He don't use stopwatch during training. The athletes were on the pool deck and take the sun easy. Mm-hmm. Everybody had the smile, and I look at them and say, "Wow, they are in holiday." And progressively, I look on the pool deck and see, oh, they have some tattoos of Olympic rings. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all have one tattoo. So, and I started to think, how can they be at this level with this mentality, with very easy? So I started to exchange with him, but only for 2 or 3 days. Then when I have to choose where I have to go for my first travel, I decide to call him and say me, okay, come. And thank you, Marco, because I learned a lot with him during 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow. Did you stay? Did you stay in a hotel, or did you stay with him?
No.
Or where'd you stay?
He gave me one room because he had a friend who had a kind of Airbnb or kind of room.
Okay.
So he helped me for that. Yes. Thank you.
So in this decision is basically, I'm going to go learn, go educate myself. How did you decide to document some of this? Were you taking notes each day? Were you taking video? What were you doing?
Yes, every day. On my phone, I take some notes. And every morning I wake up early and resume my notes. After each travel, a lot of time in the plane, I try to resume all my notes and create a kind of resume of the coach or of the country or etc.
That's amazing. Hey, I downloaded this app the other day where you can put your notes into the app and as kind of like a photograph, and it automatically translates it into like a PDF document. So you take your written notes, whatever it is, typed out, and then it just puts it in a PDF. So you could actually take all your notes, put them into this app, and you could create a book, my friend.
If you want, yes, could be fun.
How many notes do you think you have up to this stage?
A lot, probably. Wow. I don't know. The book is under the phone, but a lot of notes, probably 20 to 30 pages.
Wow, that's incredible. Marco's a brilliant coach, a very good coach. He's on my app. Any question, he's answering questions over there. Jonathan, tell me, what are some of the learnings you took from Marco?
Good question. 2 things, a lot of things, but the two big things are, first, I learned about how we learn, and especially in the meditate states. The first day, one of the first day I arrived in Finland, Marco asked me, come on to my house. So Marco lives close to one lake, like a lot of Finnish guys, and every time on the weekend they go to the lake, and it's like a cottage, and they live in the lake, and they go back to the city for the Monday, and it's like that every week. So he invite me. I don't know if invite it's English, but he invite me. Then we start to broke log. Cut
like
log.
with an axe.
Yes. So then breed some block of log, etc.
Right.
And after 2 hours, he explained me that it's a good situation. It's a good exercise to progressively go in another meditation states. And when you are in these states, you are more relaxed, you learn differently, you can think differently, etc. And we started to chat about swimming, about different things. And yes, it was really interesting. Then after, during the
Oh,
weeks, he explained me how he do the same in swimming during training. So during the aerobic training, easy, long, etc., he used that kind of training to help people to connect with water, because
mm,
he's saying that during this long training, the level of activation in the brain is low, and the athletes, like when you hike, you
yeah.
are in a different state. If you are with your friend, you exchange during one meeting around a table, it's different that if you are in a hike with a friend and after 1 hour when you speak, it's different. And
Mm.
probably because of this state. So
Oh,
I learned that thing first.
wow.
It's a little bit strange, but Marco is a strange guy. And
Well, listen, the thing that I love about that is it's kind of outside the norm, right? Like it's
exactly.
still very impressive the way he teaches and he absorbs information, but it's outside the norm of what normal people would do, right? Like he didn't even explain to you, hey, we're going to go and chop some wood, right? He just started chopping wood. Then 2 hours later, it's like, this is why we did that. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense,
Exactly.
you know?
Yes, it's amazing, amazing guy. Then the second thing, and about finite and infinite game. I don't know if you know the book. I think it's a Simon Sinek book,
Infinite
and
game.
Infinite Game.
Okay.
The Infinite Game, probably, yes. And so, what is Infinite Game? Maybe I can start to define what is finite game. So, for example, for swimming, we can imagine that Caleb Dressel is, if we think that Caleb Dressel is the best swimmer and sprinter in the world,
Hmm.
we will think, okay, he has the best dive in the world, then the best underwater in the world. So we have to copy it because
Mm.
this is the best performance in the world. So this is finite. This is what we have to do. And
Right.
this is finite game because there is a limit.
Hmm.
And our goal is to be close as the limit as possible.
Hmm.
And the infinite game is the opposite. Is not like that. It's more creative system. Like this morning, I was coaching a distance girl for some 800s, and at one moment, I don't know why, I felt maybe this girl can regenerate his level of energy when she swims.
Mm.
So between two 800, I asked, hey, can you try in the third 200 of your 800 to regenerate and keep your speed?
Mm.
She looked at me a little bit strangely, and she tried it. She tried it, and that works. She swam at the same speed, but she was really
Right.
more comfortable. And I I did not take that idea anywhere. I was just on the pool deck and
Hmm.
let my imagination,
Yeah.
my curiosity works.
Right.
And this is the infinite game.
Right.
And in the infinite game, the limits are here, and
Right.
you want to be like Michael Phelps on repeat the last 15 meter,
Right.
etc. You want to be like Caleb and dive like kangaroos. You
Yeah.
want to be like Popovici and swim with a
Yeah.
big backhand, blah blah blah. But it's finite, and
Mm.
for the brain, it's not really good because you always have a limit, and you want to attain the limits. It's not
Mm.
really adapt for yourself. But in the infinite game, you don't have any limit. You just try to implement your ideas and lets your instinct works.
I love it. I love that. It's brilliant. And that's kind of more my style of coaching because I've always struggled sharing workouts publicly. Like I don't like putting a workout out and saying this is what you should do, because exactly what you just talked about is you have the set workout, but then as the coach, you're creating in your mind, what do I want to see here? What can I manipulate here? How can I adjust here? What can I do to converge to interact with the athlete to get something more than just what's on the paper? That's what I love about what you just did there, and that's why I've always struggled sharing workouts because I remember when I was a young coach, one of David Marsh's assistants would write the workouts out. He gave all of his assistants freedom to write workouts, but all he wanted to do was he wanted to read the workout before it was presented to the team. Just show it to me and then present it and do it. So this one assistant would always bring the workout to him, and David was great at kind of saying, well, I think you should adjust this or adjust that. And I think after a certain amount of time, that assistant felt like, look, I wrote this workout the way I want it done. That's it. And I remember David distinctly saying when he suggested a couple of changes or a couple of ideas, and he got some pushback. I remember him distinctly saying, this is not the Bible, okay? This is just a workout. You can change it. It can be manipulated, okay? And I just always, that stuck in my head because I was there and I heard that. And as a young coach, it left an impression on me, is that the workout is just a guide, right? But it's how the coach manipulates it, how you interpret it, that gets the best out of the athlete. You made the athlete better in that situation by adjusting what you wanted from that little piece of paper, right?
Yes, and the most important is the story with the workout, because if it's just some lane of some kick, some pull, some drills, blah blah blah, everybody can do it. But the story behind the workout, we will do that because we want to do that during the competition, because we want to prepare that, etc., is 10 times more important.
Yes. Look, workouts are everywhere. They're simple. I mean, once you learn how to write a good workout, it's not super difficult. It takes time. It takes, maybe as a young coach, it takes some guidance and some nurturing, kind of like what David was doing in that sense. But once you figure out the basic general plan of a workout, you could, there's a formula to swimming, right? Like the formula hasn't changed that much, and it's not that different around the world. There's hundreds of thousands of coaches writing workouts every day that are very, very similar, but the interpretation and the way that you present the workout, the adjustability of the workout, and the coach, the ability to critically think and maneuver and make changes, that's coaching, right? And that's what I'm sure you've found in your travels, going to all these incredible programs, right?
100% with you. That's completely. If I have to retire in one idea of my travel, it's that the workouts is not the key. The key is how people coach, how people tell the story about this workout, how they connect with the athletes, etc. It's where does it come from, the energy. That's the most important things.
Right. And this is where I see all the best coaches who are getting the results with the best athletes. This is what they're doing, right? Like I just talked to Summer McIntosh's coach the other day, and like, he's a brilliant coach who's got a lot of experience, but it's clear that he is on another level where he's able to present a workout and manipulate a workout to get the best out of Summer every single day. Now, Summer is an incredible athlete. She's highly talented. We all know that, but the connection and the two of them together makes the performance, doesn't it?
Yes, true. I watched them during I was in Canada during the trails, and I observed them because they were just 2 meters to me. Then yes, they have a connection and they have the ability to understand each other. And it's probably the most important things.
Right. Okay. So you go to Finland, you have 3 weeks, incredible. Did you eat the fish for breakfast?
No. The things we have done, it's more sauna than swim in the lake.
Oh really? Freezing lake.
Yes, freezing lake. So Marco have on his cottage, he had a lot of Finnish people have a sauna in their house. So we have sauna, 15 minutes sauna, talking about swimming, then go to the lake during all the afternoon. After that, you sleep very well.
Oh man, I need to live like this. I need to move. You're inspiring me to just change my life at some point soon,
Call Marco.
Marco, you're living like a king, man. I'm coming to Finland to live. I've been to Finland once. I have been there, and it was freezing cold. So it was in the middle of winter. It was like minus 45 degrees. So it was crazy. But all right, so you're in Finland. And you're at the end of your run of 3 weeks. How do you decide what to do next?
I sent you a message, Brett. and ask you, what's your opinion? Who are the best coach, the best sprint male coach in the world?
Be careful what you say here publicly.
And you respond and
Okay,
so
good.
I decide to go to Berkeley.
Yeah.
And so first I asked to Dave Durden if I can come, and this amazing guy respond to me maybe 15 minutes after my first email.
Wow.
So yes, I took my ticket, I create my visa, then I don't know, maybe 3 weeks after I was in Cal, and met this incredible team of Dave Durden, Dave Marsh, Matt Bowie, then Jesse Moore. So
okay, so it was a good recommendation then.
very nice recommendation.
Okay, good.
Yes, I went to Cal to observe. Initially, I thought to be 1 month in Cal, then 1 month in two other place, but after 1 month, I wanted to stay in Cal. They were like my family. They welcomed me like if I was a damn child, etc. So
Wow.
it was really amazing. I learned a lot about them. So this is an amazing team, really.
Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that, and it doesn't surprise me at all. I know Dave Durden very well. I know his family attitude, approach to the way he lives and coaches. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But it makes me happy to hear that. A lot of people from the outside looking in would say, well, what is special about that place? What is he doing different? And again, Dave's just riding workouts like everybody else, but he's having success year after year. Now, the people that are ignorant to actually what's happening on the inside and maybe who Dave Durden is, they might say, well, he just gets the best recruits every year, so that's why he's so successful. It's just he gets the best recruit. It's a simple answer, right? It's so simple, but it's for a simple mind to say that. So the reality of the situation is when you're there and you're in it, what separates them?
Very good question. The first day when I arrived in Cal, I was really shocked by the enthusiasm and the energy of the team. So I'm European, and we don't train like in US or with Anglo-Saxon swimming culture. But I was really shocked by the energy, by the enthusiasm of the team. They enter the water, work directly. Anyone complain? So I think at the beginning, I was really shocked. Then progressively, I understood why. The guy around the pool deck, so the 4 coaches, create this energy, this ambience, and it's how first they have good value. So for me, Dave Durden is like a good dad. It's always, and during every practice, he speaks with every swimmer, and take some news, give some advice, give some time, etc. But during every practice, so the energy is amazing. Dave Durden is more focused on value and on attitude. So he is not always with the stopwatch, blah blah blah. It's too low, it's too high. Yeah, good, you are a king, or no, you are a bad guy, etc. It's more about good job, or you can improve by this way, etc. So they are more focused on attitude than on the performance. That's the first thing.
Right.
They have big energy always. Dave Durden is, I don't know what he drink, but this guy has always good energy at the morning, in the afternoon, always. Like Dave Marsh here.
So consistent then. It's consistent energy.
It's appropriate energy, because sometimes, for example, on Monday morning, some country in the music and progressively the intensity of the training increased and the energy and the voice of Dave changed because he introduced the training of the week. Then the afternoon after the gym during the speed practice, at this moment they are really excited.
Right.
Then after during the recovery day, they are more quiet, etc. So it's really appropriate energy.
Right.
Depends
I love
of
that.
the moment. Yes.
I love that. Great.
And yes, Dave is amazing in that. I remember one moment. It's in my brain for my life. We were in a room and a woman spoke about nutrition to the guys team. So 30 guys in the room and one girl tried to explain how we have to eat. You can imagine the scene. Then Dave was here and I observed him, and he was not connected to the team, but progressively he took he connect with the energy of the group of the team. Then when he was connected, he tried to move and change this energy. And this is a superpower, really. This guy has a superpower. He has the ability to adapt to the team. Then when he is connected, change the energy. This is amazing, really.
Wow.
Really amazing.
Wow. So he's very in tune, with the vibes and the flow and the yeah. Okay. Wow.
Exactly. So yes, for me, it's not about training. Cal is not really different in training system, etc. Yes, they have a good recruitment, but they have the ability to create a big community, and that was also what shocked me. They train together. They are in opposition sometimes. They fight each other, but they have always good word for the other one. So the guy who is the last one in the set and struggling, he is come on guys, etc. And same thing for the first one. They try to implement the good spirit in the team, and of course, because Dave and the other coaches implement good values in the team, the result is amazing.
Wow. So what I took from that, I guess, is that the guy who's up the top, they want to elevate him even further, and the guy who's down the bottom, they want to bring him up so that the whole team is rising up to a higher level, right?
That's Cal. That's the resume of Cal.
Wow.
It's every day like that. Every day.
Wow.
So this is very amazing. So for me, good community. So they create community. Dave Marsh is amazing too to create community. Dave Marsh loves the sport, love swimming.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This guy took me to go to discover the NHL in San Jose. Then we went also to a football game with Berkeley. So I progressively discovered the USA culture of sport with Marsh.
Yeah.
And also with Edo. Edo was a triathlon guy who was with the Cal team. And yes, thank Edo. Edo offered me a part of his apartment for some days to decrease the cost of my travel, etc.
Wow.
So thank you for. It's really a big community. All people like sports in this community, and everybody try to be better and help the other one to be better too.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Amazing. This is incredible. This is a great podcast already because I've never done anything like this where I've talked to a guy who's just traveled around and got all these learnings and these discoveries, and now you're opening up and sharing. Honestly, you do need to write a book. You have to write a book. I mean, come on, this is an incredible story so far. You're only gone to 2 programs, and I'm excited. So you spend some time in Cal. You want to stay longer, but ultimately you have to leave at some point. Where do you decide to go next?
So after 1 month, I went to ASU with Bowman and Herbie. I was probably not at the good moment because they were in a taper phase, so it was not the reality of training, of everyday training, blah blah blah. But yes, it was different. The organization is different. The community works differently. It's more some groups. They work differently. Bob work more with the distance group, and it's amazing because when I was in Cal, I observed Leon, Chase, Jay, then Regan in the same training.
At ASU.
Yeah, at SUS. It's amazing. Those guys, they have big energy, and Bob is on the pool deck and coach them. It's wow. It's probably 3 of the best 4 IMers in the world, and they work together, and they train together, and they live together. Again, it's another community. Then the sprint group is complete different approach, and I think the SU program is smart for that. They understood that training 4 a.m. swimmer and the mentality of you have to work every day correctly, blah, 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 and repeat, is different than sprint group when they need to be more relaxed and play every day, etc.
Yes.
So you can see those 2 mentality on the pool deck, and it's really smart for me.
Again, it's appropriate for the groupings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly. So I had only 1 week with them.
And let me ask you this: while you're on the pool deck and your observations of Leon, who's obviously a French swimmer, you're a French coach. So, had you known him before that week, and then what did you learn about him during that week?
I didn't know him before, and what I learned, this guy is really committed to the training. He looks very smart in how he trains. It's not just be 100% every day, all the energy. It's also be smart on how I want to train and why I train. So I think when he do the underwater during training, he think about race. When he need to work on pool or on backstroke, he think, okay, during my 4 a.m. I will have to do that. So it's not just doing what is right on the paper. He's training with the idea of I train for that. So
right, which is appropriate for him. Like, this is my kick count. This is the way I swim. This is the way I pace it. You know, it's not just following necessarily what Chase is doing, let's say.
Exactly. Completely different. Chase is more committed to the effort. Again, I was only on the deck for 1 week, so I observed that. I don't know if it's the reality, but I observed that. Then Leon liked to swim. You can see him playing during training. So yes.
Did he open up to you at all, like as a Frenchman? Like,
course,
it was like,
yes.
you know?
Yes, I think he helped a lot to he helped me to come to the pool deck because it was not very easy at the beginning. And we exchanged a little bit about the difference between French then US culture. And yes, some things like that. It's always very interesting to exchange with people who train in Europe than in US because the culture is really different.
Right. Is he getting any pressure from back home in France to come back, or are they happy that he's with Bob?
I don't think so. No, I have the feeling that he's really happy to be with Bob, and he's happy to be in France. He looks to be really happy to swim, and he looks to be like in paradise.
But do you think France is happy that he's in America?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Yes, I think so. Yes, we it's probably one of the best places for him, and my opinion as French is he needs something, he want to try it, he try something, so why not?
Yeah, right.
Why not?
Now, in your learnings as a coach, do you lean one way or the other, in terms of I want to learn more about this because I feel comfortable here, I know more about a particular area, and so I want to learn about this area. What are you looking for out of kind of the education on these travels?
Okay. The first things I realized that my style of coaching was really similar to all those styles of coaching. So what I wanted to observe is how coaches connect with the athletes,
Mm-hmm.
because in the training concept, etc., it's really close, but I didn't understand why athletes choose Cal, why they are
Right.
happy in Cal or in another place. So I wanted to observe the relation between coach and athletes first,
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm-hmm.
than the content of the training or the
Right.
session.
Okay, nice. So you're taking a lot of learnings there. Just with the content of did you take anything from Bob Bowman? Let's say you're on the pool deck with one of the greatest coaches in history. What is Bob doing in terms of the content? Is it different than other programs?
Not really, but it's about coaching.
Right.
So for me, I saw in only 1 week, I observed Bob's and observe one important thing for me. He is able to say at Leon at one moment, this is shit. What you're doing now, this is shit.
Right.
But when he said it, it's with kindness. Kindness.
Right.
It's not like you are a shit. It's this is shit, and
Right.
you need to transform it to be better on that. And it's really simple. It's really direct. And Leon understand. Oh, okay, I have to change it now,
Right.
not tomorrow, not in 1 month. Now.
Mm.
So it's the communication is really simple. It's direct, but you can feel the kindness behind this.
Yeah.
So this is the first thing, and the second thing is when I observed Bob, it's like if he really know what you want during training. You, he, it's like if you have an idea of what you want to see, and you have to be close of that. And if you are not, he will work to
Mm.
transform the situation, and
Mm.
he's not kidding with that. He be cool on the pool deck. He can be easy, but kidding sometimes, but joking. But when it's training and when he want that, we work on that, and we are not kidding.
Mm. Again, not much different than Dave Durden in terms of
No,
manipulation to get what you want ultimately, which is a high level of success, right? Dave's coming in, he's feeling the group and he's manipulating the group, the feeling, and Bob's just doing the same thing. He's taking his expectation and saying, you're delivering down here, and I'm going to manipulate it to get you to where I want you to be, right?
exactly. So this is the two biggest thing about coaching, about content. It's always about technique. Bob
Mm.
is really strict about technique, clean swim, and the second thing is I always I was really excited to understand how Leon was able to repeat a lot of underwater,
Mm.
because Michael did the same thing.
Mm.
And the only things that I've seen is at the end of each training or a lot of training, when they are a little bit tired or broke, they repeat underwater, not with intensity, but just repeat underwater like 1650 on minutes or 50. It's in yard, and it's, for example, the first one 25 underwater, 25 swim. Second one 25 swim, 25 underwater. Third one 50 underwater. Then the fourth one easy. Then repeat that 5 times.
Mm.
And they learn how to be underwater and stay underwater when they are tired.
Right, right, yeah. With no intensity to it. It's just you're exhausted, you're wiped out, you're physically, mentally tired. Now go underwater and relax.
It's more in your brain. It's more
Right.
how to trick your brain when when you are tired, when your brain has to go to breathe.
Mm.
How are you dealing with that to stay underwater, stay relaxed, etc.
Mm.
It's not really about physiology or biomechanics or blah blah blah. It's
Right,
about how you think or how
right.
you respond to the problematic.
Because it's easy to do something when you feel good. It's difficult to do something when you feel terrible.
100% with you.
Right. Gotcha. Awesome. Okay. So you spend a week there. They're doing taper. It's a little bit different. You're seeing groups and stuff. Okay. And then where do you go next?
Dave Salo.
Ah, Dave Salo. Okay. So he's
Yes.
a man that doesn't really have doesn't have a college team anymore. But so what do you observe out there?
So training with Dave is really fun, amazingly fun. It's probably one of my favorite moments. It was exciting every morning when I wake up to go to. I had 15 minutes of bike to go to the pool, and then it was always exciting because you never know what will happen. Never. It's unpredictable. And
Mm.
so you arrive on the pool deck, the swimmer enter in the water for the always the same warm up. It's probably 300.
444, right?
It changed a little bit
Oh,
now.
okay.
It's
Okay.
300, then 650s, something like that. It's
Okay.
probably adapt depend of the swimmers.
Okay.
Then at the end, um, the show the show the show can start.
Ah,
So Dave start to explain the set. The music is adapt, and the energy when you explain the set, it's amazing. It's like every 20 minutes or 25 minutes you have a new story about we will do this, we will do that, it's 350 on a minute, blah 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 blah. Looks very complex when you see the
right.
but it's really simple for it
Right.
when you explain. It's really simple.
Right.
Then he writes the training progressively. So
Gives you it in pieces.
yes, and
Mm.
sometimes he don't have any idea.
Mm.
So he say okay, do 300 easy. So and they swim, and he's on the pool deck and just wait to feel something.
Right.
And when he feels something, he start
Mm.
to write.
Mm.
Then after
Mm.
that, the training is always really amazing. Really amazing.
Mm.
That's good.
So he's
That guy is really fun.
more like an artist.
It's exactly a little bit like Dave Marsh do that a
Dave
lot
Marsh,
too.
yeah. Yeah. Very similar. Yeah. That's honestly that's kind of the influence that I had, right? Like I was coached by Dave Marsh and then I worked under him as an assistant and then Richard Quick came along and Richard was exactly the same as well. So my influences were very similar to that. So when you're talking about Dave Salo, it's almost like you're talking about me in the way that I used to coach. Like it's a familiar feeling, you know?
Yes, I can. It's you are really lucky to have that kind of coach because
Right.
it's amazing to work with that kind of people because they arrive to the pool deck with energy. They are really creative and predictable, and you don't know what will happen.
Mhm.
So you are like in an adventure. It's
Yeah,
welcome to
they
the
don't even know what's gonna happen, you know? Like
no
Dave
no
Saylor doesn't know what's gonna happen. Like you
no
said, "Hey, go 300." I remember so many times I'd be like, "I've got nothing right now. I'd be thinking in my head, "I got nothing. I got nothing." I'm like, "Hey guys, just yeah, float an easy 300 and I'll put up the next workout." And they push off the wall. I'm like, "Oh my God. Did they notice I didn't have anything?" I'm like, I got nothing. And then you just put yourself in, like you said, almost like a meditative state. It's like it's very similar to what you were talking about with Marco, with the chopping wood. It's like you're in that moment, and then you're allowing the energy to come in. It's like, oh, where are we energetically? What's the wavelength right now? And you're letting those wavelengths come in, and you're absorbing them, and then boom, something comes, and you're like, yes. Exactly. And it's like you said, Dave Saylor just starts painting and Dave Marsh starts painting. Like these were my observations. These were my influences. And maybe it was the right person to connect with, and maybe they hopefully have some influence on you now where you're able to connect with that as well, you know?
Exactly. Because I was a little bit like more structure coach,
Mhm.
always have my idea, and
Mhm.
I was really scared to
Mm.
be in front of the athletes and didn't have
Right.
anything. I
Right.
was really scared about it. But I realized when I saw Dave be like that, joke with the athletes and be comfortable with that situation, I asked myself, but why I'm not comfortable with this situation?
Mm.
It's okay.
Mm.
And I realized that the enthusiasm of Dave Marsh or also Dave Marsh, Dave Durden, Dave
A
is
lot
the
of
key.
days. Yeah,
Dave is
Dave.
the key. I realized that they have big energy because it's not in a square. It's not finite game. It's
Mm.
infinite game. So they
Mm.
are in the real life. They are in the present moment, and they express themselves. And
Mm.
for sure, that give a lot of energy. And yes, Dave Salo give me a lot of inspire me a lot about this situation,
Wow.
this comportment
That's
behavior.
awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Now, from what I understand from Dave Salo, it's like that, right? Like you have an incredible, it's like a symphony, this beautiful symphony, but then when they walk off the deck, everything else is up to them, right? Whatever they do from that moment on, it's up to them. He's left them. He's gonna create this beautiful, masterpiece in the pool, but then they have to take care of business outside themselves, right?
Exactly, and that's really interesting because, but most of the best coach do that. Ben here do that exactly the same. And one thing we don't really know when we read the training content of Dave Salo is all the exercise are in acceleration. So if it's 5 rounds, the 5 rounds are in
Mm,
acceleration. So you
right.
start by creating your. Dave always say first is mechanics. So he
Mhm.
try always to fix mechanics, so techniques, and after that they try to accelerate, increase the intensity, then maintain details, etc.
Right.
So, but they are really responsible of what they do. If
Yeah.
they don't want to work, whatever, whatever.
Right. Right.
It's not his problem.
Right. It's more of a professional program there too, right? Like in the college scene, you're dealing with 18-year-old kids, but with Dave Salo, it's more of like this is your career. This is up to you what you want to get out of this.
Yes, yes, clearly, but it's not about age. It's about mentality.
Mm,
Dave think he has very high standard. If you don't want to work, don't work. It's not my problem. His role is really clear in his mind. My
mm,
role is to purpose situation, to
mm,
give energy by my enthusiasm, to give some advice to help you to be better. But
mhm,
I'm not here to push you every day because you don't want to work.
mm,
And he know the limits, I think.
mhm. Right. Yeah, I love that assessment. Very, very, very spot on with that, I believe. How long were you there for?
3 weeks.
Oh
Yes.
wow. Okay.
2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half.
Yeah.
Yes, it was really fun. Very,
Awesome.
very fun.
Awesome.
And one thing that's amazing in this group, you can have one international swimmer from China who is here to discover one thing, then some local swimmer who are good but not amazing, then a world record in 1500s, American world record, but of 60 years, and they
Mm,
train together.
mhm,
And the first is work in breaststroke, the normal guys work in their stroke, and the distance swimmer who is older work with the fins. But they all find something to do
right.
during the training.
Right.
And exactly what you say, they all know what they have to do during training, and they've just tried to see and observe, and okay, we are here now, so because we want to go here, we have to first do this step, and he will
Right.
create the next content. And after the next content, if we are here, he will say, okay, now we will do it during race pace, etc. And it's really human. It's not like, I know in Europe we like to create kicks, pull, race pace day, a recovery day, aerobic day, blah blah blah. But for him, it's more simple. First, you start by create position, for example. But after, when he see the position is not clean, he will challenge it during one exercise for 20 minutes. Then after that, he will challenge it during a little bit of acceleration. Then when he think they are ready, let's go for some race pace, and he adapt the duration of the walk and the rest, depend of what he want.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's really, really creative and predictable, really predictable.
That's awesome. Well, listen, man, we're 50 minutes in. We've only gone to 3 programs, so 4 actually now. So we've got to keep going. So after that, what did you decide to do?
I go back to Cal.
Oh, okay.
I go back to Cal for probably 1 month until the end of my visa. Then yes, continue to observe the coaches. I worked also with Matt, who is the more kind of sprint coach in the team. Jesse is more a distant coach. And yes, I learned a lot also about Matt. Matt was a swimmer, a Ben's Titley swimmer too. And he explained me one thing. How to deal, it's complex, but how to deal between set height standards with the athlete, define height standards, but you can't define height standards with athletes if you don't have the trust. And it's a balance. And he explained me that it's like a pyramid, inverse pyramid, and another one in the other direction. So one in that side. And
so one's upside down pyramid and one's a normal pyramid.
Yes, and in the upper pyramid, you have the standard and the trust. In the middle is the communication, and on the base is how the coach creates the trust. So by value and by experience, etc. And yes, it's really interesting. I have a photo of that probably.
Like this.
Yes, exactly. I can show you
and then you just have
the resume in my magic book.
Oh, you got the magic book. Oh man, this is the magic book.
Yes,
we need to get a copy of the magic book. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Okay. You write in English too?
Expectation and clarity, accountability. I can send you that before. I don't know if you see anything.
You write in English,
it's
not
in
French? Oh, good. I like that.
Yeah. Do you see something?
Yeah, send me a picture of that, please. That'd be great. I'll put it on the. Am I allowed to share that or not?
You heard me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Sorry. Yes, I hear you. Sorry, I didn't hear you for the last minute.
I was gonna say, I like that. Yeah, can you send a photo of that? Am I allowed to share that? Would you mind?
Of course, yes. Of course. Perfect. So it's expectation, clarity, support, connection, character, and competence.
Yeah, take a photo and I'll share that for everybody when we release the podcast.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
We do that.
Awesome. That's cool. I like that. All right. So another month in Cal with Matt as well, spending some time there. So then you go to Australia. You get kicked out of America.
Yes, I went to Australia first with David Lush.
Oh, Dave Lush, yeah. Another David. Oh, you picked all the Davids.
All of the planet. Everywhere when there is a David, I went. So David Lush is now Lushy is now in a kind of college program, Moreton Bay. It's different. It's not high level programs. It's more high school program.
Yeah.
But I learned something about him, especially about celebrate, how celebrate. Americans are very good to celebrate all the things. It's not the case in Europe. And I discovered that in America, you celebrate everything. You celebrate the small victory. You celebrate because you try. You celebrate because everything. But Lushi is really amazing for that. When you start the program, it's like a kind of NCAA for high school in Australia. You probably know that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, not at the end, they celebrate that they will participate. So 3 days of playing golf, swimming, eating some burgers, then swimming, then running on the beach, etc. But 3 days of, yes, we will do it, and it's fun.
Like team bonding at the start
Exactly.
of the season.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah.
And he is really good for that.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's really clever too. Yeah. But that's good. But you can feel a difference in the culture, right, between Australia and
Oh
America
yeah.
too,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. The American culture, I don't know if it's only because I was in Cal, but I have the feeling that in America you train as a team.
Yeah, sure,
It,
100%.
it's you train as a team. You don't train as for yourself. You train as a team, and it's completely different. And the energy is really high. I spoke a lot with Beryl Gastaldelo, who is a French swimmer, no Beryl,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and when she went in Brest when I trained in Brest and when I coached in Brest, and told me, wow, the energy is very low. And no, it's not so low. But now, because I was in the US, I understand what you want to say.
Right. Yeah.
And in Australia, it's different. In Australia, the culture is different because it's the country of swimming. It's not about team. They don't really train as a team. But
Yeah.
for example, the competition. In Australia, you have a lot of special competition with a lot of fun during competition. Everybody is here, like to swim fast, like to be. I was in competition. The name of the competition is Premier League, and it was like a team competition. You dive for a relay, you exit, and you have another relay. So you can swim back to back, but with only 15-second rest. Then after that, you have 2 minutes rest because one other guy do the 100 fly. Then it's your turn to swim the 100 back, and nobody care about I'm tired. Nobody complain, etc. Everybody is just happy to swim during this competition. And I have the feeling that Australians really like to swim.
Yeah.
They really
Again,
like
it's
it.
part of the culture. Swimming's part of the culture. Yeah.
Yes, it's really amazing. Never seen that before. Never seen that.
Yeah. That's the hard thing to explain to Americans is that everybody in Australia loves swimming. Like swimmers in America love swimming, but the rest of the culture doesn't. But like in Australia, it's part of the culture. Swimming, everybody loves swimming.
It's crazy, completely crazy. I never seen that before. Yeah. Everybody like to be in the water, and yes, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
really. So I can understand why with only 22 millions, 22 billions of people,
22
they
million,
can fight with the US because they love that.
Yeah, it makes it easy for coaches to have always people coming through their programs because everybody does it. It's just like, okay, well, I've always got someone coming in and I always got someone to work with because everybody loves swimming, so it's never going to run out.
Yeah, and it's like a game. Nobody, maybe nobody is too much, but I had the feeling that swimmers don't ask themselves, I have to go, is it a good way to swim? Can I be a professional swimmer? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I met some people who had a job, and guy 22, 23 years old, they had a job that they continued to swim in the morning and go to the job after and continue to think that they could be an Olympian one day, and train by themselves with a coach who want to help them, but for free. It's like, it's big story. Big story. It's amazing. It's like Disneyland.
Yeah, well,
Amazing.
you in America you have this gap where everybody goes to college and they're part of college programs. You got the 18 to kind of 22, but then if you want to extend it a little bit, so you're pretty much doing the same thing. You're going to practice in the morning, then you're going to school all day, and then you go back to practice, and then you study at night. So it's like that's just part of the American culture. Whereas Australia, it's like instead of school, you replace that with work. You swim, you work, you swim, and your belief is I'm going to make the Australian team and I'm going to go to the Olympics. I had to do the same thing. I went from the American culture, and I didn't make the Australian team until I was 25 years old. I made my first Olympic team, my first long course team at 25. But in the period between college and making the Olympic team, I would swim, I would work, and I would swim. And my feeling is I'm going to the Olympics.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I
Okay.
left college early, so I left Auburn in my junior year. I was 23 years old when I left, and I didn't make my Olympic team until I was 25. So I had this gap of somewhere about 18 months. It wasn't exactly 2 years, but about 18 months where I had to go back and swim and work and try and make the team, and that's exactly how I did it.
Nice. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Love it,
yeah.
really.
But again, it's part of the culture. It's like it's just expected.
But for example, in Europe, a lot of people think that it's impossible. They think, okay, if I have to walk, I can't walk and have the energy to swim,
Yeah,
blah, 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 blah. And
nonsense. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but in Australia, it's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
It's
awesome.
okay.
That's good to hear that it's still like that. I haven't been back in 16 years, so it's nice to know that it's still there. But
Hey, Brett,
yeah,
we have to do a podcast on you.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. We have to do it.
Turn the tables. Yeah. Well, I talk a lot on the podcast. You just if you take the little things that I say on each podcast and put them together, there's one big podcast. So people that listen regularly are probably like, "Oh, shut up, Brad. You tell the same stories all the time," or I don't know. There's only so much I can say, but yeah. Look. I did a talk at Boston College 2 nights ago, and by the time this podcast comes out, it might be 2 weeks ago. But I did a talk at Boston College 2 weeks ago, and I had to give a talk about my learnings, just like you, my learnings in sports and business, because now I'm in the business world, I'm in the tech space now. So it's like, what are the comparisons, what are the learnings, what are the similarities between the sports world and the business world, things like that. So I had to present, so I had to reflect on my life and my learnings, very, very similar. And it's kind of like what you say, like actually I'll tell you, I'll show you what I did.
Yes,
So
that's very interesting.
yeah, so actually I typed this up, and I'll send this to you. You're going to send me something, I'm going to send you something. So I typed up my learnings, okay, and I had seven major learnings here, and what I related from sports success to business success that are the same wherever you go. Number one, goal setting, right? All the best athletes, all the best coaches set some type of goals, long-term goals, short-term goals, things like that. Goals are necessary. Discipline, right? All the best programs, all the best coaches, all the best people in the business world, they have discipline. Perseverance, right? You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have good days, bad days. Teamwork, like what you are talking about, whether it be in the sense of French teamwork or American teamwork, there's always teamwork. You're always surrounding yourself with other people, right? Like you have to work with people. Time management is something that relates wherever you go. You've got to learn to manage your time very well. Again, going back to the French athletes who say, well, I can't work. Of course you can work. You've got time. You've just got to manage it correctly, right? Number 6 was leadership. I'm sure you're talking about the leadership of the Cal program from a Dave Durden perspective, but I'm sure there was leadership within each level of the culture, right? Like, so you have your senior leadership, you have junior leaders, you probably even have freshmen that come in and they're learning leadership as freshmen, right? So leadership is necessary throughout all the top programs. And then the last one was focus, right? Focus. You have to be completely focused on a task. So there you go. There's my podcast. But that's my learnings, So
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. It's really close to what I saw. Really close.
Yeah, and that's it. If you apply those 7 things to anything you're doing in life, you're going to be successful, right? So like my message to the people in this class, this business class, was basically like, well, how can you relate athletics to business? They're not the same things. What you do is you take the basics of how you become successful and you apply those over here. It doesn't mean that everything I did in athletics applies to everything I do in business. That's not the case at all. But the basics of my understandings of how I became successful and how I remain successful are applied to whether I'm doing a podcast, whether I'm trying to make the Olympic team, or whether I'm working in the tech industry, right?
Yes, that's also a big difference between Europe and Anglo-Saxon country. It's how, as European, we see the sport, and how Americans and Anglo-Saxon see the sport as a school, and we only see a sport like physical activity. But in the US, the sport is also a school, and people understand that, and people in Australia like the sport too, because they know that if their children go to the swimming pool or to the basketball, etc., they will learn a lot of things. And that's what you say in your resume of the 7 key. The 7 key are the same for sport and for business, probably for life too, with your love, with your dogs, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, come on. If you don't learn perseverance, or whatever you do, if you learn perseverance through what you do, you can apply that anywhere. Then, if you learn perseverance through sport, you can apply that perseverance when you go into business. So yeah, these things are just very applicable. I love. Thanks for pulling that out of me, by the way. Now you're at Lushy's program. What's after that?
Michael Bohl.
Michael Bohl.
Yes, I was in a competition with Lushy. Then I met Barry Prime.
Barry Prime.
Yes, thank Barry for helping me to connect with Michael. And so I went to Gold Coast for 5 weeks. Yes, 5 weeks. Then it was a dream because I'm a surfer too. So I was able to surf during all the day. Awesome. And the temperature of the water in Australia is amazing.
Different than Finland.
Yes, but the shark make me a little bit scary. Everybody spoke about shark. Okay, I was a little bit scary about that.
So you got to work with Cody Simpson. Was he there?
Yes, Cody is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cody is amazing. I like this guy.
Yeah,
this guy is wow. I worked a lot with him about his butterfly to be more flat, etc. We worked on his second kick timing, and also with Emma, because Emma liked to work also on butterfly. So it was really fun.
Damn, what an experience, man. This is crazy. This is turning out to be one of the most incredible podcasts because, wow, I mean, I've never met anybody who's done what you've done and had access like this to the best coaches, right? Like I talk to them on the podcast for an hour and then they disappear, but so I get access that way. But like actually living with them and allowing you to have an interaction with Emma McKeon. I mean, how powerful is that?
It's amazing, but it's only possible because of the coach. Thank you, Michael Bohl, to let me be in his program every day and speak with the athletes at the end of each practice to exchange with them, etc. And this is because coach have also very open mind. Dave Durden have big open mind. Dave Salo. I don't explain you the one story with Dave Salo. One morning after the warm up, I was on the pool deck, and the guys finished the 650s, and Dave comes to me and say like that with the pen and say, "It's to you." So he gives me the pen and I have to write the training, etc. It was amazing. It was amazing. And he was the DJ. It was so fun. So this guy is really open mind, and Michael Bohl is open mind too.
Right.
And again, it's about community when they are open to let some people enter in the community, and because they think that the people who wants to learn also can help also the other people. And the swimmer was also like that. But why are you here?
Wow.
Because I want to learn. So maybe that inspired them also to be, okay, this guy want to learn. We can learn too, etc.
Wow. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. Bohl is an incredible coach. Bohl has been coaching since I was a young swimmer, like being on the deck. And I always, I always competed against Bowley's athletes, and they were always tough. They were always well trained. You knew you had to be prepared if you were going to race a Michael Bohl athlete, but even more so these days, right? Like I think he was a young coach or younger coach when I was, coming through the ranks. Now he's just got this immense experience. I can't imagine, how tough it must be to race against a Michael Bohl athlete these days.
Yes, because they are really prepared for that. So
Right.
it's probably one of his best strengths as a coach. He prepared them to be in difficulty, in opposition. So I remember one it was probably a Monday night session. They finished the session, and Michael said, okay, tomorrow morning it's 2050s on minute, or it was probably on 50 or so, and at 200 race pace. And if you missed one, you get out, and you watch the other finish the training.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was a kind of pressure. Then there was all like, and after that, he continued to push pressure. And I was like, no, it's maybe too lot of pressure. And progressively, I understood that no, that's not, because when they will be on the block during the Olympics, the half of the world will watch them, and this is the biggest pressure. So they have to be prepared for that. And Michael is really smart for that, because he know that they will be under pressure, so he trained them to be good under pressure.
Yes.
And yes, I learned a lot about him, because I was always uncomfortable with that as a coach. I was always scared to put too lot of pressure on people and tell me, yes, I asked myself, is it not too lot, and they will not love me, blah blah blah. You know what you think in this situation. But for real, Michael understand that it's for them. Michael don't push them just because he like to see them scary. He push them because he want to help them to cope with this situation.
Absolutely, for sure. Absolutely. And I also think part of it too, through his experience and his knowledge, is that, and even though we don't know where the human limit is, what he understands is that you've got more in you and you just don't see it. You don't know it. And
Exactly.
I'm only going to ask of you what I believe is possible as well. And even though that is an uncomfortable ask of you, because you've maybe never been there or you've never delivered that, I know you're capable of it. I'm going to ask you to give me what I believe you're capable of.
Exactly. That's it. And the training content is normal. It's nothing amazing. It's really simple basics, but the value and the height standards, it's what create the difference.
And he has a way of, he has his own personality, right? So like he's very, very calm and delivers it in a way that is just, here's the expectation, right?
This is a fun guy. One day during my I was with him, and I arrived to the pool and just take a break and watch him for the other side of the pool and just try to observe him. And I had the feeling that this guy was on a party. He was so happy. He was like that, spoke with one athlete, put the pressure of the music, dancing a little bit with another one, and speak with another one. Then he looks like, hey guys, we are in a party. Come on. The enthusiasm of this guy is amazing. He inspired me a lot about that. So like Marsh. He likes swim. He liked the swimming sport.
Yeah.
He liked the sport as a school to be better, to implement value, because it's all about value. Value of like exactly the same that you say in your 7K. It's about the two words of Michael are consistence and persistence. And it's always like that. All the time before the good set, the big set, he asks, make the good decision. He has to make the good decision. What is the good decision for you today? When you will be in trouble, when you will be tired, when you will have to do some decision and choose to continue or slow down, blah blah. Make the good decision, and it's all about that. So it's really interesting.
Wow.
But again, it's not about the content of training. It's about what you do in training.
But he's a lifelong learner like you too, right? Like, so he does his thing, and then he travels to America and spends time with Bob Bowman and Eddie Reese, and he gets around to programs too.
Yeah, with Bob Bowman, with Eddie, then also with Stanford, I think.
Yeah, maybe Greg Meehan.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
And it was fun because during one training, he explained to Kylie McKeown, this is the Leon set. Leon and Bob work on it, and for the breaststroke, blah, blah, blah. And this guy had, I don't know how many Olympics medals. He has the big experience, but he is able to learn again and create new things. That's amazing. That's inspiring.
Yeah. Well, the similarity that I'm hearing too with all these coaches is that they're absolutely welcome. They welcome people into their programs and say, yeah, come learn, come listen, come learn. But not only is like, hey, I'm the greatest, come and learn from me. They're learning from you. They're asking you questions. They're putting you in positions to coach and teach. And they're saying that I don't know everything. Let's all learn together, basically.
Exactly. That's it. Really simple. Yeah. Open mind guy.
Open mind. Yeah. That's it.
Open mind. Really simple. So yes, and this team is really, the Michael Bohl team is probably the more professional I have ever seen.
Yeah.
They have amazing staff with a lot of strength coach, physiologist. There is always 2 or 3 people. Dan and Michael and Janelle is the assistant coach. Janelle have done an amazing job to try to maintain all the people in the same direction.
Right. Pallister. Do you know Pallister?
Yes, exactly. One day we had a discussion and she explained me, I'm like a dog with the hair. Michael is the guy who walked the chip, follow the the guy, and I'm like the dog when one guy tried to leave the herd.
So Michael's the shepherd, and then there's the shepherd, and there's the dog guiding them behind with the shepherd.
Exactly, and it's exactly that. And she know her role, and she do it extremely good.
A lot to learn there from assistant coaching, right?
Yes.
We're talking about head coaching, but assistant coaching too.
It's really important, I think, because she create the balance. Right. Michael is really push them, and she's the balance to when someone are in trouble or where someone need a little bit of help, etc. Right. She help a lot to keep the balance in this system.
Yeah, this is the key too. We're not talking about these great programs having one person be the be all and end all. The one person creates a team environment where everybody's important for the ecosystem, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool. And then, okay, well, man, how many programs did you go to, by the way? What was after Michael Bohl?
Greg Arcus in Camo, Canada.
Oh, Greg, yeah. Greg.
Montreal.
Frenchman. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, so at the end, I had a discussion with one of my friends who is a sports psychologist, and I asked to him, what do you think about find something who can help me to be more myself? Because I try to work on myself too as a coach. And he told me, Greg is amazing for that. Greg is a guy who is really alive, etc. You will learn a lot about him. He have a big energy. So I went to Canada also because I searched a job for now for September. So I started to visiting different program and visit Canada because could be a good destination for me. Then I went to Camo and met Greg, and yes, I was not disappointed. Greg is amazing.
Good man. Very good man.
Yes, this guy is really alive. Alive. It's really difficult for me to explain how, because it's not natural, but he loved to he liked his job. This perception of training is really really fun because it's a mix of Australian way, inspired by Bill Sweetenham, like a lot of people in high level, then also by the French culture. So the mix is really strange, but it's fun because culture of swimming in Australia, it's be more specific, work on back end, front end speed, blah blah blah, be more specific and to the race. Then French culture is more about technique and pedagogy and how to help them to be more themselves, etc. So the mix is really explosive. It's fun.
Like New Orleans.
Yes, it's like New Orleans, exactly. So, and it's fun because he liked the music. He likes music. He liked to listen old school music.
Yeah.
And the music is we did not speak about this, but I think the music is a big part of his life. So
you know what else is family is very important to him too.
Yes.
His kids.
His two kids. The football guy it's fun. So what I learned about Craig is yes, this guy is really alive, unleashed. He don't have any leash. He want to do something, he will do it.
Right.
He is really, yes, that's it. He listen his hurt. So if he feel like a little bit like Dave Marsh, when he think that something is good, when he feel that could be a good idea, he don't think 5 seconds, let's go. And this is creative, this is adventure. So
that's cool.
I learned a lot from him about this.
Yeah.
This guy work on more about training. I learned something with him. It was fun. He work a lot on back end speed, and it's normal strategy, so pre-fatigue. Then after that, work on back end speed and try to replicate it when you are tired, blah blah blah. But he work also on front end speed, but it don't just repeat front end speed at the target speed. He work with percentage. This is English.
Percentage,
yes. Percentage. Yes. He asks some percentage, but not just for the energetic system, also to be able to know at what speed you swim. So, for example, could be 650s on, I don't know, on minutes, 80%, 85%, 90%, 95%, 100%. But it's not just for descending, acceleration. It's also, are you able to swim at this speed?
Right.
Do you know when you swim at this speed? Do you know at which speed you swim? At what
understanding speeds and being able to manipulate those.
Exactly. And I think it's really smart because when you want to have good back end speed, you have to be able to swim your front end speed easy, but relax. Because if you just think, okay, I will, how many times you have this discussion, Brett, with your athletes? I have to start faster and slower, more relaxed, or I have to, etc. If you work on it during training with different intensity, at the end, the athletes know, okay, if I start with this intensity, I will be probably at this time. And it's smart to work on it.
Yeah, I saw this incredible video the other day that kind of went viral where they had this I believe it was a motorcycle rider, a very famous motorcycle rider, and they basically put the headphones on him, and he hears the sounds of the motorcycle changing gears.
Okay.
And they ask him, what track is that in the world? So all he's doing is listening to the sound of the motorbike, and he says, oh, that's this track in Malaysia, that's that track in Australia, that's that track.
Yes.
That's somebody who has a deep understanding of their craft.
Okay.
That's what Greg's trying to get at, and I certainly pertain to that as well. Is like, if you understand your speed so much where you can manipulate it down to the 100th of a second, down to the 10th of a second, that's true power, right? That's power. If you can close your eyes and ride around a track at full speed on a motorcycle, that's a gift. That's true power. And that's what the elite level athletes, most of them get to, right?
Yes, I saw similar things with Sebastian Vettel, who tried to draw one
track.
Yes, one track with closed eyes. So he had the model, and after that he closed his eyes and tried to replicate it, and it's really similar.
Yeah.
So that's
they get it down to the small details in the head, but it's a sensory feeling, right? And they're using all their senses. And so when they turn one sensor off, they still have all the other senses that can, relate to exactly what they need to do. And that's what you want. You want them to be able to turn their brain off in a race, a swimming race I'm talking about, turn their brain off and hit the exact pace without thinking.
100% with you. I think it's really, really, really important. And that's probably why you were a good sprint coach, because from my opinion, a lot of people are saying that thinking before the race is important, to think about what I swim like that, etc. But during the race, it's not possible. You can have this mind load, then the physical load, etc. You have to be straight on.
When I was in the call room and I swam my best races, when I'm in that last 15 minutes, it's a decompression of the outside world and an internal awakening of what's happening in your senses, right? So like, when you're focused on the outside world, you're getting all this information come into you, and there's no awareness really of what's happening here because there's so much coming this way. And so when I was at my best, and what I try to get my athletes to do, and I hope anybody listening to this will do the same thing, is stop giving them details right before they go out. Think of that, do this, do but. No. The last 15 minutes, especially for sprinting, I can talk about this, is you want the outside world to disappear. You want the internal world to awaken, right? And that is a sensory awakening and not a mental awakening in terms of thinking. It's just turn the senses on and feel,
Thank you. I try to explain that every time with my athletes. It's more feel. It's not think. It's about feeling. And I think coaching it's also that. It's it's learn to feel, not just try to understand, explain, etc. It's learn to the athlete to feel.
At the end of a competition, I was emotionally exhausted because I would turn on all my senses. I would heighten my senses so much, like almost like a caffeinated experience. When you drink coffee, a lot of coffee, you have that sensory overload. That's how I would be in terms of a competition, and I would just be completely exhausted because it wasn't I was exerting energy. I was, physical energy like this. I would basically be sitting there most of the time. But at the end of the competition, my whole senses just wanted to relax and shut off,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this experience. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thanks for pulling it out of me. These are the things that I don't get to talk much about, because most of the time I sit here listening, but the experiences you're having are so profound. I mean, my God, you've learned so much. This is incredible. I learned so much from my podcast. I look back over the 3 years and think, wow, how cool. Look at all the people I've talked to. Like, and look at all the programs that have opened up to me. Look at the learnings I've got. Like, I am a much better, I have a much better understanding of swimming now today than I did 3 years ago. I would imagine I would be a much better coach. Um, and I'm sure you're feeling the same way, right?
Yes, exactly. And thank you also, Brett, to create this content, because I one of the I'm one of your first fan when you started during the COVID to work on it, to try to give at everyone the opportunity to access to James Gibson or Michael Bohl or Bowman or different coaches, and that helped us a lot to destroy some bad conception, or to open some new ideas, etc. And your job is amazing for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, I feel the same way. I feel very lucky. It's kind of like what I'm sure when you look back, you're like, wow, these guys opened their programs for me and allowed me to learn and discover so much. You're very appreciative. To me, I have the Michael Bohl mentality of like, we're all learners. We're all learning. We haven't discovered, we don't even know what our limits are. So how can we say we know everything? If you don't know what your limits are, how do you know everything? So like, I get very frustrated with coaches who are kind of the opposite mentality. They're closed-minded. They think they know everything. I'm like, oh, those people just, they rub me the wrong way. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be around that person. Like, get me. And then you meet a Bob Bowman and you meet a Dave Durden or, whoever like that. And you're like, okay, I get it. That's why they're good, right? That's what separates them,
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's
So
the biggest difference.
yeah, so you had that experience in Canada. I don't want to miss any programs, but
Yes.
where'd you go next?
In Barcelona. Last thing
Greg.
about Greg, he helped me a lot by asking myself a question, because I was a little bit in doubt, because I watched different program, and I started to be a little bit crazy, because at the end I didn't know who I am. And he helped me, and by just told me, I think, so Greg said, I think the good coach are people who know which quality are their strengths,
Right.
which are the strengths.
Right.
And I realized that, okay, just after writing my strengths, I was very in good shape. I was ready to coach.
Right.
Just by writing. So
Great advice.
yes, every coaches, just write your strengths,
Right.
3 or 4 strengths, and use them. And this morning I played to just use my strengths, and it was so fun. My enthusiasm was higher than usually, just because work with your strengths is fun. And it's the same with athletes. When you work with one athlete and say to him, okay, we will work on that. This is your underwater is your strength, so we will work on it.
Right.
He's so excited. He liked to the session. So yes, as a coach, find your 3 to 4 strengths and work with it. It's so fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you, Greg.
Yeah, great advice. Excellent.
Amazing.
I remember coming up through the sprint ranks and learning about the people that are ahead of me, like, and going into different programs and learning from them and feeling the same way at times where you feel inadequate because you're like, oh, you lose sight of your own strengths and you focus on their strengths. I remember spending time with Alex Popov and think, what a technician, I can't swim technically like Alex Popov. And then you meet a guy like Anthony Irvin, like, I can't feel the water like Anthony Irvin, right? Like, and so like you meet these elites and you start to doubt yourself and question yourself. And then you have to go back to say, well, what am I good at? What can I do? What can I even do better than them that they can't do?
Exactly.
What are my qualities? And that's when I felt much better about myself, is when you build that confidence of like, well, this is who I am and this is what this is what separates me from them. And maybe even they're looking at me and saying, well, I don't have that quality, you know?
Yes, please repeat that every time, because a lot of people, they are in a finite game. They think that they have to reproduce the performance of the other, and that destroy them. And it's the same for me, because I wanted to reproduce some coaches, etc., or methods that destroyed myself. And if we want to be creative, if we want to be ourselves, we have to, like you say during your call room, be in ourselves and let's awake our personality, our creativity, etc. And as a coach, it's our role to help people to express themselves and not to push them to reproduce models or etc. Because that's this, we destroy human like that. We destroy some artists like that by push them to reproduce models. It's I think it's really bad.
Yeah, I do too. I distinctly remember the time where I let go of a feeling, you know, where I was watching Anthony swim, and you know, it's easy to go back to Anthony because he's an Olympic champion who won when he was 19 in 2000, and then won in 35 when he was, you know, in 2016, 16 years later. So it's easy to say, well, I'm not Anthony Irvin. Well, who the fuck is Anthony Irvin? Nobody's like him. But so like this man could feel the water unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And I remember a distinct moment where I had to let that go. I had to look at Anthony and say, that's okay, that he can do something special, that he has a special gift like that. But he's not necessarily gifted everywhere, right? So like what I had to say is, well, what can I do that might be better than him, or you know, basically just bringing the focus back on me and saying, this is what I value about myself. This is, and really when you put the focus back on there and saying, well, that guy has that gift, but that's him, and you accept it, but leave it, and then come back to you. Now you're in a place where you can compete. You know, you can compete with confidence. I can tell you, I stood up on the blocks next to Anthony Irvin multiple times and had the confidence to know that I could compete against this man, right? And for me, it was a coin toss at that point in time. Maybe he'll win, maybe I'll win, maybe the best man wins on the day, right? So it was that's where I was, you know.
That's sports. That's sport. So for the coaches or for the athletes, the rule is the same. Be yourself. Don't try to be another one. And it's strange because I visited different programs to understand how people work. So it's a little bit paradoxal. But what I learned is not how to be Dave, how to be Michael, is how to be myself. Because I discovered that what makes those guys really good, they are themselves.
Yeah. But it's great to learn from them. It's great to see different things. But at the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, well, who am I? And that advice that Greg gave you is incredible advice. I would highly recommend that for everybody, is to write down your strengths and focus on those as well, while at the same time allowing other things to come in. That's okay, right? Like it's okay to observe and grow and ask questions, but don't get so lost in, that's what they have and I want that, you know.
That's life. Simple life.
Okay, so now you're with Ben Titley, one of the greatest respected coaches in the world. What are you learning there?
So my stage with him is not finished, but this guy is also a very good leader. He is not close to a method. He's really open mind to try different system. To what I can say on Ben, one of the things that I like, it's give a lot of responsibility to the swimmer. So Ben always write 3 or 4 sessions, and they can choose. A lot of time they can choose if they want to work at 200 pace, if they want to work at 100 pace, if they want to repeat it on mix with aerobic, or if they want to repeat that. And they have a lot of responsibility during training. Sometimes yesterday was aerobic training, and I didn't remember how many sets was right, probably 12 or 14 or 16, and they have to choose 3.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
So, but it's fun because it's very smart, because when they choose it, after that they are committed to the session.
Mm,
And because it's a little bit boring, the aerobic session with long repetition, etc., because they choose it, I think the level of energy of and implication is better.
right. Yeah.
So
He's not telling me what to do. He's giving me choice and allowing me to make my choices of, first of all, what I do, and then I have the choice on how I do it.
exactly, and I think it's very smart. It's very
Yeah.
smart,
Yeah.
and it's
It's different, right? It's not for everybody, but it's a different approach and it works for Ben.
yes, and yeah, you can feel that the athlete like it, because they have a part of responsibility in training. They are not just cheap who
Right.
follow. They have the choice. They can, and if you have the choice, I would like to tell you a story, a personal story. I
Mm.
was in training camp in Canary Island. Then every day we had to do probably 15 minutes bike to go to the pool with my team. Then one day, every day, a lot of swimmer biking slowly, etc. It was normal. But one day there is a big, I don't know the word in English, but a big water on the road.
Like
Af-
like a puddle or something.
yeah, so every one have to choose to go right
Right.
or left
Uh-huh.
to return to the normal way.
Right.
Then at this moment, what happened? Everybody accelerates. Why they accelerate? When we arrived to the pool, I asked, "Why did you accelerate?" And they told me, "Because I wanted to win." Win why? I wanted to be the first, but usually you don't want it to be the first. Yes, but that time I choose if I have to go right or left. So
Mm.
because they have to choose when
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah.
because you choose
Mm.
when you have done your choice, after that you have to assume it.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have to assume it, your level of energy increase.
Mm.
So, and say, oh yes, that's why choice is really important. Because
Ah,
if I told you choose this way, you will choose the way. But if after 10 meter you see the other guy in the other way 10 meter in front of
mm,
you,
mm.
you will let it go. You will not continue to fight.
Right.
And
Right.
but because you chose to go in that way, you will fight until the end to
Right.
defend your choice. So I
Mm.
think that's why it's really smart for Ben to let them choosing
Mm.
sometimes.
I like that. That's very clever. I never thought of that. I've witnessed something like that many times, but I never thought of it that way. That's incredible. Yeah, it's so true too. So yeah. Well, how long are you in Spain for?
True. I've been in Spain for 1 week and a half, and then stay 2 more weeks.
Awesome. Did you get any time with Adam Peaty?
Yes, yes, this guy is amazing. I was with him also in Gold Coast because they were in a training camp.
Oh, okay.
But this guy is so fun.
Yeah,
Amazing energy.
really.
Wow. 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 I was with him maybe only 3 days or 2 days because it was the end of his week on the beginning of mine. And I arrived probably on Tuesday morning and he left on Saturday morning or maybe Friday afternoon. I didn't remember, but I stayed only 2 days with him. But we went to climb and he was really like a child.
Really?
And yes, playing to be the best, challenging himself. One day we we went to run. We ran together. Then he was always in the front of the team.
Mm.
Always want to be
Mm.
the first. Always want to um, to fight with the other one,
Yeah,
to give the best of himself. I like this mentality really. I can understand what this guy is so good. This mentality
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah, yeah. It's good to hear because a story just came out in the press where he talked about his mental struggles, and he's very open with his mental health and where he's at and the pressures of maintaining that level of excellence, right? And so I think from the outside looking in, you're very worried about him. Like, is he fragile? Is he in a bad place? But then when I talk to Ben and I talk to you about him, it's like, no, he's it's good that he's shutting out the outside, where he's happier when he can just be himself, I imagine.
This guy is amazing. He created the strategy to cope with the problem. So I don't know the problem. I don't read the press, etc. But I don't know really why he was here. Sorry, but he created the strategy to escape of the problematics, then fight with it and reload his energy in Spain with another coach in another team in a different environment. He want to transform, he want to change, he want to do the job to be better. So, and everybody's struggling. Everybody, when I was, and it's also another listen, everybody when I was with Ryan Murphy in Cal, with Chase Calais in Phoenix, with Emma McKeon or Kaylee McKeon or McCorton in Gold Coast, with Marie-Sophie Harvey in Camo, and now with Mireia Belmonte or Kylie Massey in Barcelona. Everybody is in difficulty. Everybody is struggling.
Right.
Everybody, it's hard for everybody.
Right.
And we always think it's okay, this guy is Superman, he's probably easy during training, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case.
And we also think it's just me who's struggling. I'm the only one struggling right now. I'm the only one going through this. Whereas if we're connected as a whole world, which we're becoming more and more connected, which is great. But the reality is there's true struggle with the greats. The greats are the greats because they embrace the struggle, or
Exactly.
they not only just embrace it, but it's a necessary part of the process.
Yes, and like you say, it's welcoming the problems is probably the solution. Some people refuse to see it and doesn't work. It's another subject, but what I want, if I can help people to be more comfortable with it, everybody have to know that everywhere when I went, people are struggling every time. Ryan Murphy, just before the Melbourne World Championship, was sick, and he didn't went to the training. He didn't come to the training for maybe an hour, for a week, and when he go back to the pool, he has big difficulty to breathe, etc. Then 2 weeks before, he was the best swimmer of the world.
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, sorry.
Yeah.
2 weeks later. But yes, it's and it's difficult. So it's difficult for everybody. But on social media and press and indifference, it's everybody hide this reality. But that's reality. Everybody's talking. We're all humans.
Jonathan, I'm telling you for a fact, this is possibly my favorite podcast I've ever done.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is incredible, man. This is incredible. Because I guess not only are you talking about you and your experiences, but you're talking about all these incredible coaches. I don't think anyone's had this experience before, or at least verbalized it in this way, where they're able to really dig into. This is a great podcast, man.
Cool. Thank you. I'm really happy to share that with you. I like how you question me, etc. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, I love this, and I hope so many people listen to this. The unfortunate thing in our society and our world is if we don't recognize the name, we don't think we can get value from it, right? Like, and again, I go back to the greatest coaches, the best people I've ever learned from is that they value everybody. They learn from everybody. And there's actually more learnings from people that you would never expect to learn from than the people that you might expect it from, because you might not get much out of those people, but the people that are willing to just open themselves up, that's where the true learnings are. This is an incredible podcast. If people took notes on everything that we talked about, not only you, but me and this whole past 2 hours, this is probably the most learnings that anyone's ever going to get from a podcast that I've ever produced anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm so happy.
100%, man. I'm so happy I did this.
I'm
You
so
know what?
happy.
I'll tell you a little secret. The funny thing too. I was sitting on the couch over there because I'm at home. I was sitting on the couch. It's Saturday morning here, and usually after a long week, I'm exhausted. I'm tired, and Saturdays are kind of just a nice recovery. My phone beeped at 8:50 in the morning, 10 minutes before the podcast. My phone beeped at me and said, "Hey, you got a podcast in 10 minutes." And I was like, "Shit." I came over here. I sent you an email. I set it up, and then I sat here. No research on you, nothing. I had no idea what the conversation was going to be about. And here we are. Again, it's kind of like that Dave Salo moment of like, I
Exactly.
have no idea what I'm going to do. And this has turned out to be my favorite podcast I've ever done. And 10 minutes before, I had no clue I was even going to do it. I love it. That's awesome.
So what does it mean? You have to stop to prepare. That's
Well,
exactly what Salo said to me.
yeah.
Told me.
You know what you have to do that I've learned that is very helpful for me, and I think people give me credit for it, or they see it in me, is that I think what I've learned is that you've got to be a good listener. First of all, you listen to people, like truly listen to people. If I know nothing about you and I don't think you can add any value to me, I'm not going to listen to you. But if I know nothing about you and I value what you're saying and I value this moment of, I could have sent you a text to say, I'm tired, I'm not into it, let's do it another time. But no, I'm like, I don't know this guy. I want to learn. If you come in with that mentality of a learning mentality, you're always going to learn. You are. And that's what I'm most proud of myself. If I'm going to sit here and write down my strengths, I'm going to put that on there, And then the other thing is that I've learned to do is I've just learned from listening is to ask questions from the listening. And then those questions end up being good questions. So people always tell me, Brett, you ask great questions. Well, I listen and I ask questions based on what I'm hearing,
Pretty simple.
You do those things, I think you'll be successful.
Yes, exactly. It's what I do every time when I'm with a coach. I try to listen a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not in our nature.
No.
We always want to speak, explain what we know, etc. But it's 10 times better to listen. And there is a quote about that. We have 2 ears and only 1 mouth because we have to listen 2 times more than we speak.
Yeah.
Something
so
like that.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I love that.
Yes,
that's true.
That's very fun to explain that.
Yeah. What's next, man? After, I mean, where do you think? Is there any set plans?
No, I will go back to my house now. I live in some Airbnb, and this is my room of 2 meters per tree. So probably 6 square meter, and I live here for 6 weeks. And after 7 months, I have to go to my house, I think, to take some holidays and go back to surf with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I have to find a job for September because I have a lot of knowledge now. I want to experiment my strengths as a coach.
Absolutely. Now, Jocko, is he in charge of French swimming now, Jocko?
Yes, I had also a speak with Jocko, an exchange with Jocko, because he was in Phoenix when I went to observe Bob. Then after that, I had an exchange with him about his strategy of training, and it was also very interesting.
Wow. Okay, great. Well, listen, I'm gonna send him this recording, and I'm gonna say, listen to the whole thing because you'll learn a lot. But get to 1 hour and 53 minutes where Brett sends you a message. Jocko, hire this guy. Get this guy a job, man. He should be high up in French swimming. You should be picked up like that with the learnings you have, the knowledge you have, my friend. So good luck.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah. Good luck. And thanks for sharing. Thanks for being so open today. Okay.
Okay. It was a pleasure. You helped me by asking me some questions that helped me also to resume what I did, what I saw, etc.
Yeah. I'll send you a copy of this.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Send me a couple of notes.
7K. Okay.
Yep. That's all right. Thanks, Jonathan. Take care, my friend.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.